This may sound like Freddie Mercury singing Adele's hit 30 years after his death, but this song is being sung by software. So is this. Another computer-generated voice in the style of pop star Drake. And then there's this. You no longer need to imagine Michael Jackson singing John Lennon's classic. In the age of AI, every vocalist can be born again. But for working musicians, AI may come at a cost. This is Rude Kid, a pioneer producer behind house and grime classics.
It was always forgets, and then what we done, we put the instrumental out, and then people like Stormzy, Chip, like a load of people started doing their own versions, and then the tune's a legendary tune right now. Without music, I don't think I'll be doing anything. Like, it's mad to say, but I feel like music's everything for me.
How would you feel if AI used your music to effectively duplicate it and make new beats?
That's a bit upsetting, man. It's like I said, I started from school at a young age, learning the craft, learning how to make my own style of music, learning how to put different sounds with different sounds, just so I can be unique. And for AI to make that within 10 seconds or however long it's gonna take, it's a bit of kick in the teeth. Like when I think about the good side of it, I feel like it'll ease my workflow. You have to mix it, you have to master it. And now if AI can do that within like 10 seconds, it's mad, but it's gonna put a lot of people out of their work.
That displacement has already started for some audio professionals, now competing for work with AI. Yet the software has trained itself on our voices, often without consent.
Very recently, I found out that my voice had been stolen by AI. My voice was available as an option on an AI text-to-speech website. If they can suddenly get me almost for free, without having to pay me, without having to bring me into a studio, then where will that leave me?
Actor and voice artist David is part of the campaign by Trade Union Equity, calling for new legal protections as AI threatens livelihoods.
We can't stop it, it's too big. So as professionals, I think we've got to get together and try and work out a framework of how we can work alongside this technology and hopefully make it work for us, so that if there is a David Holt option on a website, I get paid for it.
That is being asked here too. The Brits gather the great and the good of music. Its organisers and the voice of the industry are concerned about AI's artist remuneration, but welcome its possibilities.
So in the future, can we look forward to an AI music category at the Brits?
Never say never, and if that AI music has been a partner to human creativity, then let's not rule it out. But we are beginning to see some risks. So for all the positive opportunity of AI, there are certainly risks that are emerging around the potential flooding of the market with kind of low-value AI generative content solely created by AI.
This is a big challenge for streamers like Spotify, where music created by AI is being uploaded by AI and listened to by AI to make money for, you've guessed it, AI, which means a smaller share for real artists. This year, Spotify purged thousands of these tracks, but if AI is a threat to the platform, it is also powering it.
I'm Xavier Jernigan, my friends call me X, and I'm your own personal AI DJ on Spotify.
Xavier is a senior Spotify executive and the voice of its new AI feature called DJ.
Introducing DJ, the best of Spotify made just for you, one tap away. Powered by AI, delivered by me.
AI has also presented some challenges for Spotify as well. Are you concerned about the evolution of this technology?
I've never seen any technology move this fast, none of us has, so I don't even know what to anticipate. But what we're doing is we're looking at everything. We got teams working on it, we got teams checking it out, and anything that's going to threaten creative expression, that's not something we stand for.
AI may be music's new toy, but will old music lovers throw AI music out the pram? Here at Rough Trade, sales of classic vinyl records are having a long renaissance, proof that technology does not mean extinction.
I think like with any technology, it provides new opportunities for people, and hopefully we can find a way that AI will just support the music industry rather than tear it down.
The tech used to make and distribute music and sound has been under constant change. In our lifetime alone, we've seen the impact of vinyl to streamers, and AI is set to be the most disruptive tech yet.
Simeon Brown reporting, but with me now is Jamie Njoka Goodwin, who's Chief Executive of UK Music, and in New York, Sarah Myers-West, who is the Managing Director of the AI Now Institute. Jamie, let's start with you. Is there any reason why any artist should not be terrified by AI?
Well, look, artists across the music industry, many of them use AI in an assistive way. I think the challenge is really around generative AI. It's really important to remember that AI cannot create, it can generate. And in order to generate music, it needs to take a whole lot of content, look at patterns, and then generate allegedly new, but actually it's not new, it's not original, it's based on that content that's ingested. And so it's critical that when AIs are generating works of music or creative content as a whole, it's recognising the copyright, it's having the permission to use that content in order to generate.
And what's the difference then between AI creating a song or using samples, which is, you know, what plenty of musicians do?
So AI is doing this often at scale, but often when you're sampling, often you are seeking permission. You are asking the artist you're sampling in order to have permission to do it. I think that issue of permission is absolutely critical because, as you've heard in that package, there are artists and creators of music who are finding their works being used without their permission, and that's not acceptable.
So it's a copyright issue. On one level.
It's a copyright issue on one level. There's also broader issues. It's raising questions about things like personality rights and image rights. AI can create likenesses of people in a way that there are not legal protections here in the UK to legislate for. So I think there's a lot of questions about how we legislate this, and it's really key that we have the right frameworks in place.
So the creative genius who's thinking of that new tune, you know, that new song that's going to capture everyone's imagination, you know, what does that do to their imagination? Are they running away from AI? Are they competing with this thing in their mind that is constantly going to do what they do faster? How is that going to work?
Well, it's really challenging, isn't it? I think the way we need to look at this is not seeing AI as this utopia which is going to be absolutely perfect, but also not see it as something which is going to be completely destructive. There's huge benefits from it, but there's also huge disruptive impacts. The question for us as an industry is how can we use AI to enable and to enhance human artistry without actually replacing the human element, which is one of the reasons we all love to consume creative content in the first place.
Good point. Sarah Myers-West, if I can turn to you. I mean, we just talked about music, but really it's interesting because music is about human creativity, you know, and art is one part of that, but everything else is too. Is there anything in AI that makes you not afraid when it comes to replacing humans in our most sublime ability?
Look, I think the key question here is who's benefiting from the uses of this technology and who's being harmed by it. I think my concern is not so much about the advanced capabilities of AI. Some AI is doing remarkable things. Other AI is not even doing the basic things that it's claimed to be capable of doing. I think it's a question more of, you know, is AI going to be used as a justification for devaluing the creative work of musicians or writers or other artists? And that's where I think I would place the emphasis here.
And, you know, we saw that summit today in Washington. US regulators, US politicians seem to be taking this really seriously. But is there any way they can even catch up?
Well, look, we've seen some strong signals from the enforcement agencies in the United States and from the White House that they intend to, you know, enforce the existing law as it applies to AI, that we don't need to wait around for new regulatory movements or the creation of a new agency that's been floated. We can enforce the laws that we have on the books today. And I think that that's the right starting point. But it's also important that we not confuse signaling for actual enforcement of the law.
And I mean, is this more dramatic than, you know, the printing press? Is it more dramatic than the Industrial Revolution in terms of, you know, the change to our evolution as human beings?
What I think is really different about this moment is that, you know, folks have an interface through which they're having a very visceral experience of artificial intelligence. But really, these systems have been in use in the world around us for quite a long time. They're being used to influence our access to resources like the ability to get a loan. They're influencing the kind of, you know, education or healthcare that we have access to, whether we get called in for a job interview. All of those uses of AI are largely invisible to the broader public, even as it's shaping very consequentially our life chances. And I think that's a really critical shift that we're undergoing. That's much more, should be much more what's in focus, as opposed to sort of what the future potential, are we going to encounter the singularity?
Okay. Jamie, I mean, considering the enormity of this issue on so many different levels of our human interaction, of our behavior, 500 million people losing their jobs potentially, according to some reports. Do you think we've even started talking about this seriously in this country, in Parliament?
We absolutely have to be having this debate. Look, I don't think we should be seeing this as a zero-sum game. It's not about how do we develop AI or how do we protect other industries. The mission question for us is how can we develop our AI sector, be the best home for AI in the world, but in a way that protects your creative industries. You mentioned the Industrial Revolution there. Actually, the reason Britain won the Industrial Revolution was because we were one of the first countries to have a really developed system and regime of copyright, of patent law. We made it a place where people could actually have innovation and create things, but know that they had protections in place to be doing this. Now, other countries are actually moving faster. Bizarrely, China set out some proposals 3 weeks ago. They were all about how can you label content? How can you ensure that copyright is being protected? How can you ensure that content that is being used appropriately? Now, actually, that's exactly the sort of thing we need to be developing in this country. It's something government's looking at. We're going to be working with them as they go forward. But absolutely, we need to be looking at how we can make the UK the best place in the world to be developing AI, but also in a way that works in tandem with our creative sector, which is one of the sectors that this country leads the world in.
Jamie Njoku Goodwin, Sarah Miles, thank you very much indeed to both of you.